Hello, everyone. This is your girl Shanidra with Beyond the Cover. Yes, where you will discover exactly what it is and what it's going to be. Now, as you can see behind me, we have our more too classy two-toned dress. Yes. Now, as you can see, it has the white and then it has the black on the other side, sweetheart. I also have one of our Amore Too Classy boutique blazer dresses right on me. As you can see, it has white and then it has striped with black. So, as you know, Amore Too Classy Boutique is very unique and different. We like unique and different clothing. We do not like the original, you know, traditional stuff. Going beyond the cover, or you will discover exactly what it is and what it's going to be. Now. I'm telling you guys, especially for my subscribers, you want to go ahead and purchase you one of our Darling You Are Fabulous packages so you can have your mugs. This is how big the mugs are. You can have your mugs. Dream big, work hard, and make it happen. You can have one of these while you're sitting on your couch or at work or whatever, on your phone, in your car, wherever you're looking at me at. Like right now, I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Now, as we are talking about the signal, y'all know I have to deal with the signal all the time. Every time that I'm about to tell you facts, the truth about what God is saying. The signal. We lose signal sometimes. So this is going to get real deep because it's not this type of signal that we deal with on my show. It's a different signal. As the reason as to why is because you are not connected to the source. The source. Now, when we see low signal, that means that it may be it's not connected to the source of internet. That's what this little mirror computer stuff is. But the source that I'm talking about, the real source, is the almighty source. My source of income, my source of health, my source for everything in my life is God. So even though I have to deal with the signal every time on this video, I know for a fact that my signal, I receive signals from God, signs from God. I receive this. Now, what is the definition of a signal? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I should have put something in this cup so you guys could, see me sipping it. But this is a nice, big, heavy, it's not heavy, it's light little mug. So now you can see how big it is in person. So, my little bitty hands. So, Signal, if you Google it or whatever you want to do, it says Signal is a cross-platform, centralized, encrypted, instant messaging service. Instant messaging service. That's what this Signal thing is, an instant messaging service where you can instantly get this message on today. It's the instant messaging service. Now we can look at it that way, or we can look at it as the signal that we should be receiving from God. You have no signal because you're not receiving anything. It's because you're not connected to the source. So you're not going to receive any signal because you're not connected to the source. Now, what is the definition of source? Because we need to know this. This is important. We can't keep leaning into our own understanding of what we think source means. So, source means a place, a person, or a thing from which. Oh, and I'm in my. I'm reading off of my actual journal. With God, all things are possible. Again, we only have 2 left. Again, source is a place, person, or thing from which something comes or can be obtained. It says creator, beginning, originator, birthplace. So the source is something that can be obtained, like source of income, source. But where is my source of income coming from? God, I'm telling you. So it's not a job. I don't work a job. It's not this business because I learned during the pandemic that look, Shanidra, it's not See Portraits Magazine supplying your needs, sweetheart. It's me. Oh, the Lord is what the Lord said. He said it's me. Look up, honey. It's me. So you have no signal because you're not connected to the source. Now, this little revelation came from this morning or last night. My TV said no signal. I'm like, what in the world? You know, all of a sudden, in the middle of me watching something, all of a sudden, it says no signal. So I'm like, I'll tell my son, make sure it's connected. So this is where this little title came from. It's from, the revelation I received from just, my TV not having any signal. So I'm like, dang, I was like, I don't understand why it's saying no signal if it's connected to the source. It don't make any sense. I was like, well, go check the internet, make sure the internet box is working. The internet box is working. So I'm like, what is going on? So I was like, well, maybe we need to restart it so that, it can start receiving signal. So my son unplugged it, plugged it back up, and then it started receiving signal. So God is saying, and then this is where I got this out of. That's how I receive revelations over simple stuff like this. God is saying to us that, hey, all we need to do is restart. We need to unplug from the source that we are considering or calling our source and plug back up to our real source, God, the Almighty. We need to start looking at God as our source of income. We need to start looking at God as our source for everything. Period. You're not receiving any signal because you're not connected to the source. So right now you're not going to receive. Everything is blank. You don't get this. You don't, I don't hear from God. And I hear this all the time. The reason why you do not hear from God at this moment is you need to restart. You need to be unplugged from the sin that you're in. And then when you get plugged back in, you need to be plugged into the real source. That man or that woman is not your source. That job is not your source. That business is not your source. God is your source. When you start noticing and realizing and recognizing and not being in denial of your actual source, then you will start receiving signals. You will start receiving signs that, from God. You'll start hearing from God. But the only reason why you're not hearing from God, not because, oh, well, I'm not a pastor. I'm not either. I'm a teacher, not a preacher. So the guy said, kill that noise. He said, what you can hear from him if you get out of that sin. Right now, when you're in sin, here's God. Again, he has not left you. God is right here. Right here. So now that you know that God is right here, he didn't leave you. First, you were with God like this. But you stopped doing this and start doing this. You started venturing away further and further and further. So you all the way yonder now. You done ventured all the way. God's still here, not left. He's still here. But you left. You left here. You stopped doing this. And you went off doing this. You got into sin, you tapped into it a little bit, and you got further in it more and more and more. So the more you got into sin, the further off you got from the signal. Now the signal is still here, but you're not connected to the signal anymore because you're all the way back here. So now you're sitting here with your phone or whatever, trying to get signal. Hey, I don't know what's going on. Hey, I don't get no signal. Hold on, I can't hear you now. Hold on, let me get to a place where I can receive signal. Well, in order for you to get to that place where you can receive signal, you got to come back to here. But as long as you venture off from here and you go back here, you're not going to receive any signal, sweetheart. You got to come back to this. Come back to the original way that you were when you used to pray, when you used to do things of God, when you were on your knees, when you were acknowledging God, when that's what you need to restart. You need to unplug from wherever you are right now. Unplug from that mess and plug yourself back in and get a restart. That's the whole point in what God wants to do. He wants to reset you, renew your mind. That's what he did with me. He renewed my mind. I did not even think the same way that I used to think. I can't even think that way anymore. I don't even understand how I even thought the way that I used to think. I'm like, dang, Shanidra, like you were just looking crazy. I was sounding crazy and everything. Before he renewed my mind, the way I think, so I don't even think the same. What used to tick me off when people would yell at me and all that stuff, I don't even see it that way no more. I used to get offended, like, look here, you're not gonna be yelling at. But now I'm like, shut up, Shanidra. You know you didn't do nothing. Because that's the part that used to make me mad. Like, I didn't even do nothing. Why are they yelling at me? What they not gonna do? But God was like, no, what you not gonna do is sit here and, get offended. You didn't do nothing. So come in with that mindset. I know I didn't do anything. So let me hear them out. So when I shut up and I listen to them, I'm like, oh, they mad at something from their job. Oh, okay. They taking it out on the wrong one. But, it's not me that they're mad at. They're mad at their job. Or they're mad at this that happened, because it'll start coming out when you shut up. But when you start being aggressive back with them and snapping back, then all of a sudden y'all both snapping and then there's just chaos and confusion. Then y'all don't even know what y'all snapping about because, well, you yelled at me and you shouldn't have came at me like that. I didn't even do nothing to you, So then we all like this and what? What is being resolved? What is, what we're not solving anything because we're just back at each other and don't even realize, where we're going. We're not going anywhere. But neither one of us backing down because, we got to get our last word in and, I can talk about it because that was me. I'm like, hold up, what you not gonna do? But when God renewed my mind, I was able to take Shanidra out of the situation because that was the point that I was getting offended. Shanidra was getting offended, like, hold up, who are you talking to? You're not gonna talk to me like that, But when I took me out of it and I listened to them yelling at me, yes, yelling. Now, it's not now. Let me make this straight on this video because I don't want anybody to think that they can get comfortable thinking that they're going to be yelling at me. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is now when people are, aggressively talking or what have you, instead of me being aggressive back to them and aggressively getting back at them like I used to do, I can talk about it because I don't do it no more. I'm in the process. God is renewing my mind. He is working on me. So now that I have been reset and I've been plugged into the source, now I'm able to handle things better. Now I'm not upset. Now, they can continue to be upset, but now I'm able to somewhat calm them down. Or if I'm not, I'm able to walk away and not be mad or, frustrated about the situation. Because what was frustrating when we start looking at like, why did you even go off? What was the point in all that? Now you mad and they done frustrated your day. Ain't nobody gonna have that much control over my day no more. Period. So I'm gonna do exactly what God said and let it go. I'm not letting the sun go down on my wrath. Like, honey, I'm letting it go. I ain't got time. I got too much on my plate to be worried about that. The renewing of my mind. Because used to, before he renewed my mind, before I had that reset and I was plugged into the source, I used to, like, no, they didn't. I sit back and think about it, Like, I know they didn't just try to, chew me up like that. I'm going to have to call them back and let them know, that was me. I had to let them know what it is. But now I'm like, now I start understanding. Now that my mind is renewed, now that God is dealing with Shanidra, and now Shanidra can see stuff and see herself, Lord Jesus. Now I'm able to handle things better because I don't want to look like I was looking crazy. I want to look, the way I think I am, sophisticated, classy. That's what I want to look like. So I must act like what I want to look like. So I'm so thankful that he renewed my mind because now I don't snap quickly. Now I'm slow to speak because people have to ask me now. Did you hear what I said? I'm like, yes, I heard you. I'm just listening. Oh, okay. And it's crazy because people are not used to you listening. They're confused when you quiet. They're like, hold up, can you hear me? I'm like, yes, I hear you. I'm letting you speak. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you don't think that I don't think you're nothing. That's why I'm listening. That's the whole point. We're supposed to listen. We can't keep putting out our own opinions and what we think that they need, and we didn't even listen to what they really need. We have to shut up so we can hear what they need, not so we can talk about, oh, they need this, and honey, they so lost, and all. No, that's not what it's for. If you're not gonna help them, shut it up. God said what you not gonna do. Now, all you have to do is be reset. Just unplug and replug back into the real source. Do what God has you to do. Quit doing all this stuff, judging and condemning his people. Who are you? You're not God, sweetheart. Ain't nobody trying to be God. I'm just telling them what they need to be. No, you need to be doing what you need to be doing. That's what you need to focus on. You need to show them the light. You need to live this. You're not living this. Oh, I am. You don't know me. No, you don't know them. See how that sounds? When people are saying stuff about you, that's what you're doing to them. But you can't see that because you're too busy looking at the speck in other people's eyes instead of the big plank in your own eyes. You got to look at every little detail that somebody else is doing, and you're just waiting on the downfall for them. Who does that? Are you that depressed and that insecure and that, sad that you have to look for the wrong in somebody else? Like, who does this? Who is that miserable? That is a miserable life. And I don't want people to have a miserable life. I don't want you to be depressed and stressed because you're too worried about mess. I want you to be blessed and not stressed. But you're going to continue to be stressed, worrying about everybody else and what they got going on instead of worrying about fixing yourself. Period. You need a reset. I had to get a reset. I'm telling y'all about how I was reset, how God renewed my mind, how I used to let people know what it was in a different way than I am doing now. I used to, as you can see, I still talk with my head in my hands. But it's not, the aggressive way I used to. Used to, you would know exactly what I meant. But now, I do it with love, out of love, because I do actually care. I don't want people to continue to be out here sinning and not knowing that they're sinning. And even if they do know that they're sinning, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm not here to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, girl, you keep on and all that. Because those are the people that don't want you to excel and go beyond. They want you to stay stuck exactly where you are. So, yeah, of course, they're going to tell you to go on. Yeah, go on and keep acting. Yeah, girl, you need to cuss her out. Yeah, girl. If they telling you that, that's not your friend, sweetheart. They refuse to tell you the truth when you are out of line, then that's not your friend, sweetheart. They don't want you to succeed or anything. Especially if you're in business or anything like that, and they're telling you to cuss out the customer or something, that's idiotic. Do not listen to those type of people. They don't want to see you succeed. They're waiting on your downfall. You making them mad because you're great. You are great, sweetheart. And they big mad. They big mad for nothing. They have that Cain spirit. The Cain spirit. But all you have to do, if you have that Cain spirit, is unplug. Take some time away from people. Because God had me in isolation. Unplug. And when you plug back in, plug into the source. Period. That's it. It's not hard. It's not difficult. And then he will renew. You don't have to worry about trying to, I'm trying to do right. Honey, I kept saying I'm going to change my attitude and I'm going to change this. And Shanidra couldn't change her attitude. Not on my own. Because, the moment somebody tried me, I, had to deal with it. So, I would try to do right. And, when I was tempted, but then when God renewed my mind, see, I had to have a renewing of my mind because my mindset wasn't right. The way I was seeing things wasn't the same as I'm seeing things now. Back then, when I saw somebody coming at me, it was like, oh, you coming at me. Oh. So I handled things in my flesh. But now I handle things in spiritually. I handle things very different. I see things very different. And I'm going to tell y'all again, when I was getting renewed and when God was renewing my mind and I was going through the transformation, which I'm still going through it. With the beginning, when I was getting my mind renewed, my eyesight was changing. I'm telling y'all the truth. I thought I was losing sight. Like stuff was getting blurry at certain times, and I just had to start recognizing like what is happening when my eyesight is getting blurry. And half the time it was when I would get overly frustrated or something like that, and my eyesight would get blurry, and then I'm like, what in the world? But I think that was God, as he was renewing my mind, he was renewing everything, my sight, the way I see things and all of that. So I could see clearly and I can start adjusting my actions so that I can see better. Because at one point when I would get frustrated, it was like blurry and I'm like, oh my God, calm down, calm down. So that kind of helped me to calm down. I don't know how to explain it, but I thought that, nobody told me this stuff, when you're going through the transformation, what happens and all this stuff. So I'm here to tell you guys some of my experience so that you can know that, you're not going crazy. If you come telling me stuff, I'm not going to sit here and be like, girl, you crazy. That don't happen. That's people that ain't experienced God yet. They haven't experienced, and we all experience the transformation different. I'm just trying to tell y'all parts of, me and while I'm going through mine so that you can know what to expect when he's renewing your mind. You're not going to think of stuff the same. It's going to be all different. And when he starts pulling and delivering stuff, it's not going to feel good. I was one to not cry. I don't like crying in front of people. I'm not one of those pity party type of people. I will cry, hee ha ha, and then cry by myself. Like I don't need anybody pat me on the back. I really don't want to, at that time, want to be bothered. But God, when he's pulling stuff out, you can try to hold it in. I thought I had control of my tears and stuff. But when he had me to actually dig deep, and that's where Let's Dig Deep came from. When he started digging deep in me and pulling stuff out that I didn't know was in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was down in there too. He's just digging and pulling and digging more stuff. He was like, yeah, let's go deeper. We're getting deeper and deeper. I'm like, oh my goodness, this hurts. I didn't know. I thought I was over that. But we have to, in order for us to receive the signal, we have to be connected to the source. So just like I had to unplug, the little Roku thing or whatever I have plugged up. I'm trying to think of the downstairs TV. But, as I'm unplugging that, and then when I plugged it back up, it was like the signal came back. It was like a reset. And that's what God is saying that we are needing, just a reset. And we don't need to try to figure out how we're going to change and all of this stuff. And I've tried to change, it didn't work. I'm not going to change. I'm just going to, no, you are. Period. I've tried to change on my own and I couldn't. Period. I tried it. But that's why I understand the renewing of your mind. That's why I understand now that I handle people differently, and I don't snap back, and I'm slow to, I'm angry, but I sin not now. Um, because, my enemies really don't know what they are doing. Now I understand Jesus, Yahweh. I didn't understand him at first. I was like, what? They over here beating the crap out of him, and he's asking the Father, he can have God destroy all of them, and he gonna ask the Lord to forgive them, and he's dying, you know. But now I understand it. Now it makes sense. Now that my mind is renewed, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. It's like that type of situation. I can see it differently. It's like, oh, because when you start seeing God, how God deals with your enemies, you be like, oh my goodness. That's why he said vengeance is his. Oh my gosh. Like we don't have nothing on God. When you mess with me, you basically messing with my father. And that's some scary stuff. Like that's what I pray for now I understand what it means to pray for your enemies, because I'm scared of what's gonna happen to them. I'm like, they do not know who they're messing with. I used to say that in a different way, like, honey, you don't know who you're messing with and all that stuff. But now that, I'm not that person anymore, and I allow God to be God, and vengeance is his. Now it's like, oh my gosh, Lord, please, be gentle. Lord, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Oh my gosh, because I don't know what's about to happen. He shows me, just like he did when he delivered them from the Red Sea, and he showed that he had handled Pharaoh and them and washed them up ashore. He could have let them, be at the bottom, but he washed them up ashore to let them know, hey, I handled them. I dealt with them, sweetheart. They gone, they dead. You ain't got to worry about them again in your life. That's what God is saying. So the same thing with his children. He will show us sometimes what he has done with our enemies. And it's like scary, like, oh my goodness. That's why I pray for my enemies, because I'm like, honey, you messing with the wrong one. And that's not just me thinking I'm great. No, that's me seeing some of the stuff that has happened. Like God, he don't play. When he said mess not with my anointing, he do not play. Literally. Like you cannot mess with his child. He's just like how we are with our children. Don't mess, you can mess with me all day, but you better not mess with my child. And that's how God is. You mess with his, oh, you got the audacity to mess with his child. No, he said, what you not gonna do? So now, with this new mind that he has given me, now I understand. At first I didn't, because I had a different mindset. But now that he has given me the reset, and I have been plugged into the source, I have been unplugged from the old mindset, from the old me, and now here's the new me. Now I can receive the signal, because now I'm connected to the source. So now I continue to do this instead of this. And I don't have to worry about anything, because I'm always doing this. So that's all I'm telling you guys on today. Is continue to do this, because when you start going all the way back here, now you lose the signal. Now you can't hear anything. Now if you come back, then you'll start being able to hear stuff, because you're coming to him about everything. So that's all it is on today. Just pray. Just reset. Stop all that sinning that you're doing. You know what you're doing wrong. I don't have to tell you every little detail. I'm not one of those micromanagers that want to nitpick every little thing that you do. I'm not that person. I don't have time. I got too much on my own plate. I got some stuff that I got to deal with. I ain't got time to be dealing with grown folks and worried about what they got going on, because I got a lot of stuff going on. So I don't. That's the misery. I'm not miserable, sweetheart. So I don't have time to figure out what you got going on and what you're trying to do and what you need to be doing. I'm trying to figure out what I need to be doing. I want to be caught doing what God has me to do. What else do I need to be doing, Lord? I ain't got time to be worried about nobody else. I'm trying to fix Shanidra. Period. I'm trying to work on Shanidra. Trying to fix whatever it is that I need to fix while I'm here on earth, so that Shanidra can be right with the Lord. So the Lord will know who Shanidra is when Shanidra goes up there. That's all I'm focused on. Now, he has me to help you guys and to let you guys know that don't look at these mere human beings as somebody like God. They're not God. The way that they treat you is not the way that God treats you. The way they give up on you is not the way that God gives. If he gave up on you, would not be here. Period. Whether you believe in him or not, you would not be here. But since you are here, God is shedding his grace and his mercy. I'm so thankful for his grace and mercy because as much as I messed up, I'm like, dang, thank you, Lord. You saved me, gave me a second chance. Like, praise you, Lord. Like, honey, y'all don't know. Like, honey, I'm so beyond grateful for everything that God has done. I'm so grateful to have that reset, to be plugged back in. I had to unplug from the sin and then plug back in to the source. But we don't have signal. We understand that with the phone, but we can't understand that with God. I don't know, because I can't hear nothing. How do you hear from God and all this and that? And I be having to ask my pastor and da. No, God talks to his sheep. He said his sheep hears his voice. So if you are his sheep, then you should hear his voice. And the only reason why you don't hear his voice is because you have went away. You have been led astray. You have, gotten back there. Now you're not receiving that signal. Just like your phone, when you have to come back, oh, let me go back in the kitchen or let me go back in the living room because I don't have any signal in here. I done went too far. Okay, that's the same way with God. You just went too far. All you got to do is come back to the signal. That's it. It's not even hard. We make things harder than what it is. I know I did. I'm like, no, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. God, oh God, oh. But God is like, I've been forgave you. I forgave you for that. What are you still harping on it about? I forgave you. All I'm doing is trying to get you to humble thyself and submit to God. That's it. That's all he wants you to do is submit to him. You submit to everybody else, submit to him, the source. That's it. Then all these things will be added if you are obedient to him. But you can't know how to be obedient to him until you yourself find out for yourself and you get into his word yourself. You build that one-on-one relationship yourself. I didn't understand the word at first. I didn't think I needed. I'm like, oh, I hear from God, and I don't need anything because I hear from God and God and God. That's what I was saying. And then God led me to his word. And I'm like, well, God, I don't understand it. And, I just need you. Just keep talking, But God was like, no, I am talking to you through my word. I'm like, but I'm not trying to get, he was like, you're not going to get, they there's nothing that they can do with my word. It's a living word. I'm going to teach you a little something. And he did. So now I'm able to talk to you because I understand. I'm not judging you because you don't understand the word, because I didn't. Before I had this connection, I didn't. Period. We need to start being honest and real with people. Like you just knew the word all your life, and stop it. And if you did, good. But for us others, that they don't understand it, and we need to let them know how they can understand it, so that they can hear from God, so they can get their signal. His sheep hear his voice. That's all of us. I'm not a pastor. I'm a teacher. Not a preacher. I'm a teacher. I don't, that calling to be a preacher is a lot. A teacher is too. Anytime we pick up his word, we got to, be for real, because this is some real deal Holyfield stuff. Like, God don't play about his word. That's why I was scared when he told me to do his word. I'm like, Lord, I'm still a babe in Christ. That's how I felt. Like I didn't know nothing, but I didn't understand that he speaks through me, that I don't have to necessarily know it because he's going to do all of that. That's our problem. We try to figure stuff out on our own. But when we have that signal from God, when we are connected, he does this. This is what he do. You're like, who are you talking to? I gave you that mouth. What? I gave you that mouth. Therefore, I know what I know. I'm going to talk through you. But I didn't understand that at first. So when he had me to start going live with his word, I'm like, Lord, I ain't trying to die. I'm trying to do your word right. I'm trying to understand this. I'm trying to get this. Before I say anything, he was like, don't worry about it, sweetheart. It's in you. I'm like, no, I need to study more. I need to, and God is like, I got you. I got you. Keep going. Do what I told you to do. No, but people are going to think that since I didn't go to this and this, that, and that. He was like, shut it up. Don't worry about what they think. Are you concerned about what they think or what I think? Period. Or what I know. Now, I am the one that created you. I'm the one that preordained you. Period. So what do you need that for? He said that is the problem on today. These people are not who I call. They are calling themselves. They are paying for positions. See, you already had a position. Period. I already had a seat for you, sweetheart. So what are you worried about? I'm the Almighty. That's what God is saying. I mean, God is the Almighty. So why are we worried about these mere human beings and what they have to say about us and how we should be talking and all this stuff when God made us the way we are? He made me to talk with my hands. So I'm going to talk with my hands. Period. He made me this way. He didn't make any mistakes. The reason why you think that you're wrong is because they are telling you that you're wrong. That's why I gave that example of my teacher when she was telling me that my math was wrong. But I got the right answer. I got the same answer you got. Oh, but I didn't do it your way. So you're saying that my way is wrong. No, that's idiotic. We both got the same answer. So how is my way wrong and your way is right? And when we got the same answer, we came to the same answer. That makes no sense. So you're not wrong if you're doing it God's way. If you're doing it the way that he told you to do it. Period. You can hear his voice too. His sheep, that means us. That means all of us can hear from him. But the only reason why you're not hearing from him is because you're not connected. Just unplug and plug back into the source. Unplug from all that sin. That's it. That's it. The reason why he don't hear you is because you in sin. That's it. If you get out of sin and you try to live right and be obedient to him and you build that connection with him and you become more available for him, then you'll be able to hear from him. He's always been talking. Now that I'm hearing, I'm like, dang, I've been hearing this voice. I guess I was ignoring it. I didn't know what the voice was. I didn't, but now I do. Now I'm like, oh, now I'm listening every day. Hey, when I don't hear from him, I'm like, okay, what we doing? Well, I guess I'm not doing nothing. I'm just like, but I'll start trying to, figure out why he sent me back because I know now he's testing to see if I was listening and paying attention to what he has taught me. So when he's quiet, he's watching to see, hey, can I trust my daughter? Did she pay attention? Whatever. So, I had to get used to that because I'm like, hey, Lord, I don't hear from you today. Hey, we need to talk again. I got so much on my chest. He still hears me, but, sometimes he's quiet to see if I still trust him. He's not going to talk to me every 2 seconds because I want to talk to him. And he will if, but I'm just telling you guys that you hear from him. We already hear from him. We just don't know it. And it's not a certain sound or whatever that you're thinking. It sounds like you, but it's not you. Because you know that you're not that advanced. I know that some of this stuff that comes, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I know that. Because it's beyond Shanidra. It's beyond what I can think of. It's beyond my abilities. At that point, I'm like, what is this in my head? Like, what is, you want me to do this? Like, what now? Oh, okay. I do know how to do it, so we just have to get connected back into the source. That's it. We have to connect into the source. Right now, we are connected to the wrong source. So now on our screen is saying no signal. We're not receiving any signal, nothing. Because we all the way back here trying to get signal. And we got to come back to the kitchen or to the living room to get that signal. We'll do that for our phone when we're trying to talk and gossip. But when it's time for us to hear from God, well, I ain't hearing nothing, so oh well, No, it ain't no oh well. You don't do that with your phone. Don't do that with God. All you got to do is, unplug and reset. Because the moment we unplugged, because the internet was still working, God's still working, sweetheart. He's still working. So, the internet was still working. I'm like, well, what in the world? I'm like, just unplug it and then plug it back up. When it was unplugged and plugged back up, reset, then everything was working as normal. Period. Then you can be your real normal self. Then I'm my normal self. Now I'm finding myself. So this is a lovely feeling. I didn't know myself. I am 34 years old, and it took me like almost 30 years to find myself. 30 years, having kids and all. So this is a journey, and it don't matter what age you are. It don't matter if you're older than I am. My kids gonna get it before I do. I'm trying to teach them as I'm learning. Like, hey, look here. This is how you need to see things. Look, it's not that. Let me explain this to you. Digging deeper. That's we go deep up in here. Now, do they always understand their mama? No. Adults don't even understand. So, I can't expect, but they understand me more than adults. I'm like, my kids get it, you can't get it. So, that's just what it is. Now, another reason that we are not receiving signal is because we're not following God. We're not following Yahweh. Yahweh telling us to follow him, and the ones that is so righteous and what we think is the holy ones, God didn't even call them to follow him. He's like, I don't need to deal with them. I'm wondering why, like yesterday, give y'all a prime example. Yesterday. Now, I have many kids from all walks of life that come to my classes to find their gifts. I don't discriminate or, they have to come from West or anything. No, I want the East Side. I want my people. I want the broken children. I want all of them. I don't want the ones that seemingly to just sit upright for my business to look right. Oh yeah, I want the kids that act right already. And no, I don't care about how because you see them now, but you don't know what God is going to do at the end. Now, right now they may be out of control, but it's a process. Right now you're out of control, but it's a process that God is about to put you through. So, do you want people to judge you while you're going through your process of who you are right now? At this very present moment? If they just judged David based off of his very present, which they did. But who ended up beating Goliath, sweetheart? You don't know who God is going to use. And speaking of, we're going to get into this word real quick. Because God, let's just get into the word. Let's just get into his word. Because like I said, he put me in his word. I didn't think I needed it when I was hearing from him. I'm like, I hear from you, Lord. I don't need that. God was like, yes, you do. You're going to learn today. So, we're in Matthew. Now, Matthew is part of my name. You just take off the S. Matthew. That's what we're in, Matthew, the 9th chapter. And we're going to start at the 9th verse. So, the calling of Matthew. As Jesus went on from there, now mind you, Jesus had just healed a paralyzed man, all of this stuff. He's been healing people, performing miracles and all this stuff. So he's walking, performing miracles on the street, all this stuff. As Jesus went on from there, from healing the paralyzed man, basically. But you need to read this whole thing yourself. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. Follow me, he told him. So Yahweh walking by, he see this man, Matthew, sitting at the tax collector desk, and he's like, follow me. Didn't say nothing else, he just said, follow me. Period. God didn't tell me nothing else, he just said, follow me. Period. I'm like, okay. Beyond sight. You don't know what. They just said, follow me. Period. And that's what we have to do. Keep our eyes on God, the source. That's what he told Matthew. Let's see what Matthew did. This sinner, this tax collector, all of this. Let's see what Matthew did, though. See, the problem that he's having with these so-called saints is that they don't follow him. They follow themselves. They think of themselves more than what they are. They want you to follow them and not him. That's why God has a problem with them. But we're going to dig deeper into this word. Now, all Yahweh told Matthew was to follow him. 2 words, that's it. And Matthew got up and followed him. So while we judging all these people that is just not in church, oh, they out here doing this and doing that, honey, God is using them. So they're following him. They're going to follow him. But anyway, while Matthew just got up and followed him, no questions asked, period. He followed him, period. While Jesus, he left, what he was doing. He unplugged from the tax collector, left what he was doing, and plugged into the source. Now, while Jesus was having, Matthew got up and followed him. Verse 10, while Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house. So Jesus goes to Matthew's house, chilling, eating dinner at Matthew's house. After he just told Matthew to get up, follow him, he goes to Matthew's house to eat dinner. He didn't judge Matthew or nothing. He's at dinner. He's at his house, chilling. Now, at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. So, not only is he chilling with Matthew, but other tax collectors and sinners, come to the table as well. Let's see how Yahweh handled this, because this is who we following. This is our example. That's how we're supposed to live as, following his example. But let's see how Yahweh did it, since we saying that we following him and all this stuff. Well, let's follow the way he handled things. He's sitting in there with the sinners, not judging them or nothing. He's just sitting and observing, listening. So, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples, sweetheart. When the Pharisees saw this, these people that think that they are higher than what they are, they asked his disciples, they wasn't that brave enough to ask. But they asked, Yahweh's disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? Why does your teacher? So they're going to ask the disciples, why does your teacher? Why is Yahweh eating with tax collectors and sinners? Because this is what saints do in the church. Why are you sitting over there with those sinners? On hearing this, God heard you, we hear you. Yahweh heard him. And Yahweh said, it is not the healthy who need a doctor. So I shouldn't need to be in no, so-called church person's house. I shouldn't need to be in there. They're supposed to be healthy. The healthy doesn't need a doctor, right? He said, but the sick does, right? So why would I be in the healthy person's house when they don't need me? I need to be with the sick. That's who needs me. So let's get this mindset. Let's renew. Let's plug into the source, okay? Trying to get y'all this big picture. But go and learn what this means. He said, then go and learn what this means. It was like, since you don't comprehend that, the healthy don't need a doctor, but the sick does. Go and learn, what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. I didn't come here for the right. I came here for the sinners. I'm here to save the sinners. So why would I need to be sitting in there with the righteous when I need to be helping the sinners? That's why I made that comment Tuesday. Oh, you not my status. You not at your status, sweetheart. Come on now. You're not holier than thou. Come on now. You think of yourself more than what you are. You're not even in God. So, before I get any deeper into the word, God simply told them what it is. They're asking him, or well, they didn't ask him, but Yahweh heard it. They asking Yahweh's disciples, why is your teacher with sinners? Well, same way I'm with these children. There was someone there at the park that was like, why are you dealing with these type of kids? I wouldn't be dealing with these type of kids. They gonna mess up. I'm not worried about a name. I'm trying to get them to the name, to the main, the source. I'm trying to get them to the source. I'm not supposed to be in here with the good kids and that do right. I need to be in here with the kids that need some act right. I mean, that opened up my eyes to hear how these kids was talking. A little 8-year-old boy talking about getting a gun and all this stuff. I'm like, wow. There's a lot of help that needs to be. We need to be out here. We need to quit running from this stuff because we can't prevent this stuff from happening if we keep running away from it, not dealing with it. We have to deal with it to heal from it. Oh, all these deaths and all these kids killing kids, and okay. Because they need us. They need the adults to get their little butts on out there. Cussing and stuff. These kids cussing. I'm like, what the heck? I would have gotten knocked out if I cussed. But they just repeat, and they're like parrots. They just repeat what they hear. Even if they're not hearing it at home, they're hearing it at school. But we're not dealing with these kids, and we don't want to deal with them and all this stuff. No, that's not what God didn't do that. He's sitting amongst them. We can't find out what they need and what's going on if we keep, I ain't dealing with them, because we too busy worried about our status and how we're gonna look if we dealing with Yahweh wasn't even where he's the highest of the highest, sweetheart. He's the Son of God. Stop it, sweetheart. Who are you? But if he can chill with them and heal them and have them to follow him, why can't you do it? That's what we're supposed to be doing. Sweetheart, that's what God has us to do. If we're following God and his order in the way that he ordered us to be, if we're followers of Christ or Yahweh, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Period. But you're not doing that because you're too busy judging. Too busy trying to micromanage his people. Don't micromanage these kids. I tell them what it is and what it's going to be and what's right in the Lord, and then I live it. That's why the kids listen to me. This man, one of these days, last week or the week before, he seemed like he was drunk, just cussing. And I just looked at him like, oh, well. Now, back then, like I told you, I had to work on road rage and stuff like that. Back then, I probably would have had a few choice words. But I didn't say nothing. I just looked at him. And that was like, he's just cussing you. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to pray for him. I had to show them in action what to do, how to handle that. And I really wasn't even mad, to be honest. Now, I'm in tune with my feelings now. I'm in tune with when I'm really mad. I'm in tune with all that. I'm in tune with this sick trying to act up when I start telling y'all what's really God. I'm in tune with all that. I recognize and see it all. I don't say much about stuff, but with that being said, we have to lead by example. We can't keep telling them, do what I say and not what I do. They doing what you do, period. And there's two sides. So even if one side is living holy, if the other side ain't holy, then it's like a battle. Trust me, I know. So we have to come into agreement with one another. I don't even understand this little. But see, we're not going to get distracted because that's what the enemy wants. He wants me to get distracted off of telling y'all how to disconnect from the source so you can get the signal that you need and connect to this source. Right now, you're connected to the wrong source. But all you have to do is disconnect and reconnect. Period. I'm trying to see how I look to see if you can hear me. Now, if you can hear me, I don't even care how I look on the screen. Uh, because the whole point is for you to be able to hear what I'm saying. If you can hear what I'm saying, that's all I need. Okay. That's it. So you guys can hear me. So that's all that matters. I don't care about it looking blurry because, the enemy mad because people are going to be delivered. They're going to stop sinning. They're going to disconnect from their sin and they're going to get reconnected to the source. That's it. I got this message just simply from my TV, doing the most. And all I had to do was disconnect and then reconnect it to the source. That's it. Disconnect from your sin. Disconnect from all of the stuff that you shouldn't be doing. I'm not here to micromanage or tell everybody what they're doing wrong and what they don't need to do because I'm trying to figure out what I don't need to be doing. I'm trying to figure out what Shanidra needs to start doing. I'm trying to figure out, hey, Lord, am I looking good in your eyes? I don't care how Shanidra thinks she's looking in her own eyes. Lord, how am I looking in your eyes? Am I looking crazy? Am I representing you in the best light? Just like we want our kids to represent us, and you can't be out here acting, you represent me. Okay, and we represent the Most High. Like, really? We can't be acting like this. So, yes, God will correct us. Quit blaming the devil, because it's you getting your butt whooped for what you did in your actions. Trust me, I know. I've gotten plenty of them for my actions because I didn't have self-control. And I'm okay with saying that. When you're in tune with your actions, you're able to talk about it. I'm in tune when I get upset. I'm in tune when stuff is getting overwhelming. I'm in tune with all that when I need to here you go, Lord. I've done everything that I can do. It's out of my hands. There's nothing I can do. I've looked every way and there's literally nothing I can do. So I'm giving it to you, Lord. Here you go. You said, cast all my cares and burdens unto you. Boop. There you go. I'm giving it on to you because there's nothing I can do. My problem was I was stressing because I was trying to do it all. Oh, what can I do? Oh my gosh, it's too much. Oh my God. And God is like, give it to me. I've been telling you to give it to me. My hand's been out. It's just like our kids. We're like, give me that bag. It's heavy. And they want to keep complaining about it being heavy. And God is like, here. If it's too heavy, here, give it to me. No, I just want to carry it and complain about it. We get on God's nerves just like our kids get on our nerves when they do that silly stuff. He's been having his hand out so he can help us. But we refuse to get the help that we need. We refuse to plug into the source. Because when a signal like this starts making stuff blurry, thank you, Lord, I can use it. When it starts making it blurry like it's making me blurry, then, then we want to give up and stop and quit. But I have yet to stop and quit this video because I'm letting you know what it is. We have to have relentless faith. We have to continuously keep going beyond sight when it's blurry, when you can't see clearly. When you can't see me clearly, are you going to keep listening or are you going to log off? That's what God is saying. Are you going to log out because it's blurry right now? Figure out why is it blurry? Figure out why your connection is not connecting so that we can see clearer now. I had to figure out, oh my gosh, when I was going through the transformation, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't see. Oh my God. But that was when I was freaking out. So I had to learn how to have some control so my vision wouldn't, do that no more. Now my vision is A1 again. It's like normal. But I guess when I was going through that transformation, I thought I was losing my vision. I'm like, dang. And I think I had turned 30. So I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what 30 you lose vision or something? Nobody could tell me nothing. Everything's taboo. Don't nobody want to tell you nothing, or they want to be out here looking like you crazy, whatever. No, I'm gonna tell you what it is, so you know that you're not crazy, so you don't get on these drugs that's gonna mess you up and disconnect you from the source. All you need is the source, period, for healing, all of that. When you become obedient, all of this, like he heals, your health is back intact, everything. All of it is restored. Like I said, when it's blurry, like I may be looking blurry right now, he will restore it. So you don't have to keep freaking out and all this stuff, because it's going to keep doing this. But God said, what are you going to do when it's cloudy like this? When it's blurry, when you can't really see clear like it was. It was clear, now it's blurry. What are you going to do when it's blurry? Are you going to log out? Are you going to camp out and say that, oh, well, I can't see nothing. So, oh, well. Or are you going to stick through it so you can get the message? Signal is the instant message. Read it. I just told you what it means. It means the cross-platform, centralized, encrypted, instant messaging service. That's what it is. So are you going to miss your instant message because it's blurry right now? Because the signal? No. You want to receive a better signal, so you must keep going. No matter how blurry this looks. I know it goes in and out. This is just part of it. I mean, this is part of how it is in my life. One minute I'm like, oh, I can see it. The next minute it's storming and raining. I'm like, what in the world? I got to turn on my wipers to wipe it off so I can see clearer. I'm not going to stop driving unless it gets too hard, then I'm going to start praying. But I'm not going to stop driving because the rain has started pouring down hard. I'm just going to turn on my windshield wipers faster so I can see clearer. That's it. It's going to be blurry sometimes. But all you have to do is disconnect from the things that's making everything cloudy and reconnect and reset you. Then let God renew you. Renew your mind, because you can't change with the same mindset. He's renewed my mind. The houses I used to look at is not the houses I look at now. Now my mind has been renewed. Now I'm trying to make sure I have everything in line for the house that I know that I want. And it's bigger than anything I would have ever thought of. With the little mindset I had back then, I was just wanting any old house just for me and my kids. But now I'm like, no, I want the best of the best, Bigger. He renewed my mindset. I don't think the same anymore. I don't think of, oh, I got to get this customer. I don't have to get the customer. I just have to do what God has me to do. I just have to be available for God. That's it. If I'm available for God to do whatever God has me to do, and I continue to stay focused and finish what God has me to do, then everything else is going to be worked out. I don't have to worry about, oh, I missed that customer. Oh my gosh. I used to freak out. Like, oh my gosh, I missed the customer. Oh, I missed this. Oh my gosh. I used to discount myself and all that stuff and wonder why people, said crazy stuff. I'm like, what in the world? I gave them a discount and then but they cheap. So you can't the guy didn't want me to keep discounting myself, period. So he allowed that to happen. Because I was asking God, like, why did you let them hurt me? He was like, no, I didn't tell you to discount yourself. But I'm teaching you a lesson. No matter if you try to discount, some people are just not who I have part of the puzzle, period. You keep trying to add this piece to the puzzle, and that's not part of this puzzle. That goes to another puzzle. Let them go on over there to that puzzle. But they can't fit in your puzzle. Obviously, if they can't afford this, that's not part of your puzzle. They can't fit in your puzzle, so they need to go to another puzzle. I didn't tell you to discount what I have gifted you with. But my heart's so big, I want to just help everybody. I do stuff for free, because I just want to help. But God said, that's what you're not going to do. He said, you're going to help when I tell you to help. If I don't tell you them, then let me help them. And when people are like, did you pray? I want you to pray for me. I don't see it. It's gotten even harder in my life. And He helping you. No, I said it's getting harder in my life, and he's helping you. He's giving you some of that help, that real help. Trust me, I had to learn that. And I'm like, Lord, help me. Oh, he's like, I'm helping you. I'm like, no, this is hard. And he's like, that's why I'm helping you. It's going to be hard. I'm showing you your strength, what you can handle, what you can deal with. Because I used to think I couldn't deal with a lot of stuff. But when he renewed my mind and he reset and I plugged into the source, now I'm like, oh, this ain't nothing. I've been through way worse stuff than this. I can handle way more than this. We have to go through all this stuff so we can know what we can handle. He never puts more on us than we can bear. So with us knowing that, I'm like, okay, Lord, it's a bit heavy. But now when my bags are heavy or when I have a heavy load, I'm like, hey, Lord, can you help me lift this a little bit? Because he's there. He's lifting most of the weight anyway. We barely, it's just like our kids, I'm letting them hold the bag, but I'm carrying most of the weight. And they sitting here, you like, please, I got most of the weight in my hand. You just barely, touching it, and you acting like it's just so heavy. And that's how God is. He's like, I got most of the weight. You can carry this part. I'm building your strength. I got most of the weight. I'm carrying most of the weight. All you doing is just holding the bottom up. That's it. So disconnect from the sin and just reconnect to the source. That's it. Then everything's going to be clear again. Everything's going to be bright again. You're going to be able to hear. His sheep hears his voice. You'll be able to hear from him. You'll know that it's him. I used to ask how and no, I have to go to my pastor. I have to do this. I said all the same thing. So this is no judgment. I said the same thing. Reading that he said that his sheep hear his voice. I didn't understand it, I guess. So, but now I understand because I hear his voice. Not saying don't go to your pastor because sometimes he's not going to tell you stuff. Sometimes it's going to come through your pastor. Sometimes it's going to come through somebody else. What I'm saying is that he can talk to you too. He talks to his sheep. His sheep hears his voice. You just got to get out of that singing. That's it. That's it. And I'm not perfect. I still mess up. And I used to freak out when I got, because now I can see my sin now. So I would freak out like, oh gosh, I messed up. Oh my goodness. Oh. It was like, oh my gosh. I know God was like, this child is over the top. But he made me that way. So, I was freaking out like, oh my gosh, I messed up. And he's like, chill out. This is a teachable moment. So I was thankful to have an apostle that, didn't sugarcoat nothing. That gave it to me straight up what it is, what it's going to be. This is not pleasing to God, period. Take it and leave it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this talking to me like that. But that's what it is. That's how God's going to talk to you. That's what it is. This is not right, period. Get some act right real quick, period. Or I'm going to help you. Just like we tell our kids, I'm going to help you get some act right. If you don't shape it up right now, I'm going to help you. God said, if you don't shape it up right now, he's going to help you. It's not the help that you think, oh, I can't do this. Can you do this? I'm like, lift it up. No, can you do? No, I'm not going to do it for you. And that's what God said. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm telling you how you can lift it up. Now pick it up by the handle. And we try to act like it's so hard and heavy. And God is like, I don't care. I gave you the strength. Now you're going to use it. If I keep lifting everything, you ain't going to know how to do stuff when I'm not around. When I'm silent. I'm trying to teach you how to handle things on your own. Period. He got this whole world to be dealing with. And he already taught you. You know better. So we must do better. So I know y'all love for me to keep talking, but I think that I am done. Unless he has me to say anything else. I am done for today when I say, let's go beyond the cover so we can discover the signal from God. Let's disconnect from the sin and plug back in to the source. That's it. That's all I have for you guys on today. Let's go beyond